Hello my journalists, it's your geezer Big Donny Cow here for a brand new video, and today I, kind of wanted to talk about Legion Remix. Now it's out, now I've had a bit of time to play it, and of course, when I'm giving my thoughts on Remix, just bear in mind we do still have, 3 major patches to go for it. We've got one patch in... But the first patch in 1 week, and then 2 weeks after, and then 2 weeks after that. So, there's still content to be released. But, yeah, I thought I'd chat about Legion Remix, Being, now that I'm a Demon Hunter main, I, of course, decided to send Demon Hunter. Which I guess is the popular pick, and, this remix is, yeah, all I see in groups is Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter, but, hey. It is fun. It's quite enjoyable. And yeah, I think all in all, this is fun content. It's at least an enjoyable event. But I do have some critiques. I mean, first I want to talk about the sort of patch system. As I mentioned at the start, I actually think it's a good idea. It's definitely helpful for those people who can't just sweat out the game and get their way straight to the end raid. I think with Mr. Pandaria, I was definitely at a point in my life where I could just commit ungodly amounts of time to the game, and so back then getting to Siege of Orgrimmar Mythic and the time given really was not a problem. But now I don't really have so much time, so it's nice for it not to be so daunting as to have to get to Andora's Mythic straight away. It's like, let's be real, in Legion there is a lot of content. I've probably got about maybe 2 days of solid playtime. Let's actually check that instead of guess that. I don't know, a day and a half of solid playtime. And yeah, I've been trying to put effort in where I can, of course. Work and raids take priority over the game mode, but yeah, in that time I feel like I've managed to get a decent bit done. I've been trying to prioritize the daily content, and then the time I have left over from that I'm going for the quests. Yeah, I still feel like my character's relatively, in a relatively good spot. I mean, I'm sitting at 644 item level. My, power, limits unbound, is at 38, soon to be 39. How much infinite knowledge do I have? I've got 20 infinite knowledge, so I feel like I'm doing pretty well for myself, given the time I've got, but I do still have some complaints about this remix compared to the last one. Now, still, like I said, it's not to say that this event is bad, but it's more to say that it pales in comparison to the first one, One of the big things I felt, and I think a lot of my friends who aren't enjoying Remix have felt the same way, is that straight off the bat we're already feeling way too powerful. Like, there's no real progress of getting power. It's like day one we're clearing Mythic raids. Okay. That to me is a bit boring. One thing I really liked at the start of MOP was, having that fast progression. There was still progression, there was still learning the fights, especially in Throne of Thunder and Siege of Orgrimmar. Actually sitting there some nights, strategizing how to get down Dark Animus, try to do stuff like Malkorok and Garrosh was so much fun. And of course it didn't have the full time commitments you would normally have with a Mythic raid, but there was still a decent bit of learning to be had. There was some nice little challenges and puzzles to get our minds over and progress through. And then after a couple weeks, we were so overpowered, we would start just absolutely blasting through, skipping mechanics, then one-shotting everything, and so that's where a lot of the fun was for me. There was that progressional journey right from the get-go, of how you went from tackling a challenge, overcoming the challenge, and then destroying said challenge. But now it just feels like I'm going in, and like my longest boss time has been like what, 30 seconds? Yeah, it's not really engaging. It's quite lackluster. And so yeah, there's definitely one of the big reasons why I enjoy this remix a lot less. And then another reason we sort of came up with as well is specifically to do the gearing. In MOP Remix, we of course had a lot of freedoms with our gear. We could choose what stats we wanted in our gear, we could choose the passives we would get from the gems, we could choose the active abilities we would get from the gems, and sort of work our builds around that. Now, it just feels like, you know, you will randomly get a piece of gear. For those of you that don't know how it works, when you get 10 of these motes, which can drop from pretty much any content, you can get a piece of item level appropriate gear. Also, stuff like Mythic raid bosses can drop you some gear. Yeah, it would just be a random piece of gear. It should be an item level upgrade. However, you can just get the same piece you're already raring, which absolutely sucks, especially when you're farming for upgrades and not getting anything. As an example, pretty early on into my progression, I spent an hour of just pure grinding out quests, turning in these motes, trying to get any upgrade, and I couldn't get a single upgrade. I kept getting the same like 2 pieces back and forth, and so yeah, my item level did not increase for a solid hour, and I was like 594 item level, and it felt insanely frustrating. It really was not good. Now I know that's probably a minority case, but it still happened, and it was still massively off-putting for me. Another thing with the gearing system is that in order to actually get the most out of these motes, you need to have your best item level pieces equipped. So while you're still on the road to 740, there is no customization of your gear. You know, this trinket with these passives, yeah, I don't get, I really hate this passive. Moving backwards and I'm slowed. Nah, I really don't like that. That irritates me beyond belief. But I have to run this because it's the highest item level piece I've got. And a lot of my gear, like, I want to run way more crit, but it's like, oh, I just get haste pieces, I get mastery pieces. I don't get crit pieces. I don't feel like I get any agency over my gear. It's just whatever I get given is whatever I get to play with, and it's, at the moment it's quite frustrating. And yeah, having 36 hours in, and I still have absolutely zero control over my like how I can alter my gear in my favor. Yeah, that's quite irritating. And then also, as I mentioned with the gems in MOP, we had a lot of control over like what passives we took. There were so many options. Now our options are very limited. Like, basically we're picking one of these 5 abilities and then getting some passives thrown in, and then at 740 I guess you can like pick 4 out of 12 remaining passives on your gear, but kind of have to be 740 maximum item level for that, because like I say, if you want to keep climbing item level, you need to have your highest item level gear equipped so that the motes will give you the best items. So yeah, that really doesn't feel good. I will say though, like the Dreadlords, the Twisted Crusade, which is the only one I've tried, and like thematically it's perfect for me, and I really like this as an ability. I think it's a great concept. Summoning the Dreadlord, then you can choose when you want him to explode and deal some big damage, and then in the wake of his destruction, you summon some more demons passively. I think it's really cool, and I would like to see this potentially added to retail. I think this could make a great addition to Demonology Warlock's toolkit. Take out, like, they're losing Grimoire Felguard, so perhaps give them Twisted Crusade as just an extra thing to do outside of Tyrant windows. You can quite easily, you know, pre-cast Shadow Bolt, hit the Twisted Crusade, do your Tyrant ramp after Tyrant's fallen off, then do your Fell Spike, then you've got some more demons just chilling with you as you're doing your rotation. I think it'd fit in quite well for Demonology. I think it'd be a really good addition. Something I definitely want to see permanently in the game. Really good spell. But, yeah. As I mentioned though, the variation is absolutely tiny. And I know in MOP it boiled down to a lot of people just spamming Ward or Life Storm. But yeah, it does still feel like the passives at least are just, they're not there, you know. There's no cool things like the chance of hitting your target again every time you press an ability. There's no cool procs you can really get anymore. Like you've kind of got stuff like I Am My Scars, where, you know, you get hit, they take damage. You've got Fell Touched, where you can occasionally just drop a meteor on the enemy. But yeah, all in all, I don't think it's very imaginative. I don't think they put too much effort into these passives. It kind of feels quite rushed in a way. The general abilities though, like, you know, extra movement speed also on the mounts is very nice outside of combat, just to get you going pretty quickly. I do like that we don't have the soft cap on our secondary stats, but of course eventually we will be capped just due to gear heat reaching a limit, but I guess versatility will go up eternally, so not too bad. But it is quite nice to be going pretty fast. I do wonder exactly what levels of power we can reach when we do have max gear, and if it will compare to my character when I had it fully maxed out. I mean, I can already tell I've got way more mastery than what was possible in Mr. Pandaria. So, yeah. Actually, do I? I think I might have less at the moment, but I think I will get above it. I don't know if it was actually 182 or 282 that was the cap, or maybe I'm misremembering, but either way, it's still nice that we can have some pretty absurd stats, and that the usual diminishing returns, at least from what I've heard, has been taken off. Yeah, that does make things a bit more enjoyable. Another cool addition I think they did was adding the flying demons in the sky. That's quite fun to just go and see. You can see some of the Bile Scourge flying in the back there, and the right hand side behind my head. You know, fly into them, get some bronze, can get some quests to do them as well. The fact you can earn some bronze and power through herbalism and mining, also a pretty good addition. The way that you're meant to get power though, with the new daily system of the infinite knowledge quests, I'm not a big fan of. It does feel very RNG as to if you get something that you as a person like. I've specified that I want more world content, but yet all I get are dungeons. All the time it's like, oh yep, go into normal dungeon, go into heroic dungeon finder, go do mythic court of stars, go do normal trial of valor. And it's like, come on, Blizz. That's... I've even used the tool to say, oh, can I get some more world content? And it's still giving me like 4 dungeons in one go at some points, and it's not very fun to keep being forced into content you really don't want to do. On top of that, you know, if you didn't want to go and research everything before coming into it, it does feel like you're a massive loss for not knowing about how the infinite power questing system worked. And nothing I can really do or say about that, but yeah, if it would have been very clear from the get-go to say like, oh, by the way, this is the main power gain, do not miss these dailies, I think that would have been better. I think that would have been better. Just something to show it's a bit more urgent. But no, I could have looked things up, but you know me, I'm very anti-spoiler. I want to go experience things as I do it. So perhaps that's just something that's more my bad than anything. My next gripe I have to give is with Mythic Plus. Now, of course, Legion had Mythic Plus, and there's a lot of people who do love the content. But my god, do I feel like they have focused on Mythic Plus way too hard. It is too good at getting infinite power. It is way too strong for getting stronger as a player. And it, like, that, to me especially, is not fun. I was looking forward to Remix to get a similar experience to what I had to Mop. Going through all the campaigns, re-experiencing the expansions I once loved, going through the raids once again, spamming that every single day. Oh, it was so fun. I loved it. But now here in Legion, by taking the same approach, I feel like I'm at a huge disadvantage. I feel absolutely behind by not spamming Mythic Plus. And, you know, with all the love that people do have for Mythic Plus, ultimately, it is just boring content. There's, you know, there's only so many times you can spam the same dungeon over and over again. As I did play Legion back in the day, I have spammed all these dungeons for the entire expansion's duration, and longer, thanks to expansions like Dragonflight. We brought back Neltharian's Lair, Halls of Valor, Court of Stars. There's only so many times that doing these dungeons will retain any sort of effect and enjoyment, and I think I'm definitely past the point of enjoying them. But you know, it was to be expected there'd be quite a bit of Mythic Plus, and there's nothing wrong with it being in, but it is just too powerful, way too powerful. If it was more of a just for fun thing and it didn't give so much power, then I'd be all for it. But the fact that it's like insane power gains, it just, yeah, no, it really does kill the event. Like, the raids have just been incredibly trivial, which, as I said, has been a massive factor for me not enjoying this remix so much. And yeah, like, the only real content to play through is Mythic Plus, and that doesn't feel challenging. It really does just feel like, as I'm progressing through levels, like, it's fine, and so eventually I get to a level where it's like, oh, a random targeted ability one-shot me. Okay, wow, GG. Yeah, that was really fun. Glad I invested time into this. Guess I gotta keep spamming the same level of key to get my versatility up to a point where I can play a level which I'm still steamrolling, but I just happen to be getting one-shot in. Or it's 5 tank runs, which is like, oh, cool. So that limits people to playing 6 packs in the game to go push Mythic Plus. Yeah, great. I know, of course, as you get higher up, you can, you know, play DPS in Mythic Plus, but I'm really not a big fan of the implementation of Mythic Plus in Remix. I don't think they did it well at all. It's just boring. Like I'm not a big fan of Mythic Plus in general, as people know. I don't care about how well someone does an AoE damage. It's pretty negligible. I don't like the pacing of Mythic Plus. I prefer constant combat with constant challenges coming up. It's why I love raiding. Like even let's say like yesterday, I was progging Soul Hunters Mythic, and it's just a ton of fun being in a fight the whole time. Even though it is AoE, you've got the constant challenge of mechanics constantly going off. You're constantly having to figure out how you can overcome different movement patterns, different things being put on you. I'm min-maxing my ability to pick up tank souls, get back onto the boss, get in my hunt soaks, and really keep my damage going, knowing when to save abilities. If I want to be holding my glaive for when I'm going to be hitting a single boss. And yeah, but basically I just find that infinitely more fun. Then I go into a pack, I do big AoE damage, they all melt down, maybe I throw some interrupts and CCs out here and there, and then combat breaks after like less than a minute, and then I go on to the next pack again, and then I rebuild all my damage again, and then combat's done in less than a minute, and then we go on to the boss. And then it's like, oh, maybe that's 2 minutes, and then combat breaks again. It is so much starting and stopping, and then with all AoE damage, it's like so much cheesing to be had. A lot of people are just getting on top. It's like, oh yeah, I decided to sacrifice all my actual damage to get big AoE to kill negligible NPCs which deal absolutely 0 damage, instead of funneling the important mobs in the pack. It's like, yeah. The knob waving competition that is Mythic Plus damage meters. Yep, so cool. Yep, you're insane. You're so good. And just mechanics in Mythic Plus don't really feel that challenging. It does. A lot of people just say, oh, we'll push a higher key. So in order for Mythic Plus to actually get entertaining, I need to invest like tons of hours to get to a level where mechanics just one-shot me, and even then, a lot of the time, it just feels more like, oh, instead of actually playing around mechanics, you're just cycling through a defensive, when an RNG ability just decides, hey, I'm gonna hit you. Oh, I'm gonna hit you again. Oh, I'm gonna hit you again. Take the marksman in what is it, Valor at the moment as an example. When they just decide they're gonna shoot you, well, you better have a defensive ready. You got getting shot multiple times, yeah, GG. I mean, even like if you're running keys where you're still absolutely nuking down packs, those arrows are still one-shotting through defensives. Unless I never walk, I'm a corpse. So the damage taken scaling feels a bit off, but I guess the only solution to that is far more infinite power. The next big thing for Legion Remix, and I think this massively off-putting and really bad, is just the sheer amount of lag at the moment. I'm sure if I wanted to record this video in Surama, it's my favourite zone. I would be standing atop the Nighthold for this video, but I can't because it's just too laggy. If I were to hit my character portrait frame, I would be waiting a solid minute before it came up. If I try and fly to Stormheim, my skyriding ability, that only goes off pretty much if I press it to start a Suramar. It went off as I got to the pass with the dragons in Stormheim. Like, I went through this entire zone from here all the way over until I got there, and then it finally registered I'd pressed the ability. I pressed it like as I was entering Suramar City overhead. So yeah, that is really disappointing how much lag there is. I know I'm playing my character on Argent Dawn, so of course I'm gonna have a very laggy experience. I was expecting it to be like buttery smooth, but I was expecting it to be much better than this. I was expecting the game to actually be playable. I was expecting to be able to go through each zone and go through their campaigns. I had to slog through Azuna to get the quest done here. I can't do Stormheim and I can't do Suramar because of just how laggy it is. It is just like, okay, technically I could get it done eventually, but like even when I log on early in the morning to go and do some world quests in Suramar, I can't. It's just not possible. I don't know, a potential fix is coming out of Heroic World Tier, but that doesn't work. It's still way too laggy. It's just completely unplayable. And I don't think it's solely like Legion Remix as to why there is so much lag. Back in the day, Suramar was a big lag fest. So it kind of baffles me to think Blizzard wasn't prepared for it to happen again in the re-release. And when we get to Legion Classic, I think that maybe we'll have the same experience for the 3rd time in a row, if we even have Legion Classic. It's just... Surely they would have done some testing, surely they would have tried to fix this stuff. But, I don't know, it's just disappointing to be sitting through this much lag and not really being able to play the content that I was looking forward to play. I really hope that they do fix it. I mean, they've had this on the PTR as well, and it doesn't feel like they've fully fleshed this out whatsoever. So, like, I mean, maybe just don't put it on the PTR in the future and just surprise release it. At least I believe they've had it on PTR. I remember a lot of people saying it was on PTR. I could be wrong. I've not actually fact checked that. But, you know, if it was on PTR, then maybe just don't put it on PTR. So at least there's a level playing field when everyone gets in. And none of the new systems are sort of spoiled, you know. Keeps things fresh instead of everyone knowing before they even get in exactly how it's going to go down and min-maxing their route to instantly getting overpowered and one-shotting every single raid. Yeah, I think that's probably the most of what I have to cover. The Heroic World Tier has actually been quite an interesting addition. It's made being in the open world quite a bit more fun. I've definitely enjoyed it. I like the obelisks that are coming up as well. The constant challenge that Heroic World Tier has been bringing so far. I know it's been dissipating at the moment. Of course it will be. As I'm getting stronger, those challenges definitely go down. But, oh, excuse me. Whoa. But yeah, I definitely think Heroic World Tier is made for a more interesting gameplay experience. I like that they've done it, and I'm happily enjoying going for it. And yeah, so my TLDR is I do think they've done a lot of good. My gripes with it is the over-focus on Mythic Plus, to the point where it's led to raids being super easy and unfun to play. The lack of agency over my gearing, and the lack of choice I have over this remix's special abilities. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and also the lag is just absolutely horrible. But I do love being back in Legion, going through the game, seeing everything again, and yeah, just absolutely blasting. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on Legion Remix. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have anything you want to add to that, anything you want to, you know, debate respectfully a little bit, then feel free to hit me up in the comments section down below. Either way though, I hope you all enjoy Legion Remix for the remainder of its duration. Looking forward to the Nighthold patch coming out. I think that's going to be a really fun one. extremely laggy one, but very, very fun. And yeah, I will see you guys either in the next live stream or the next video. Sweet.